How you guys doing today? This is R&R movie review for my spoiler um, review of Thor: Love and Thunder. The I guess you can say the fourth film in the Thor series from Marvel Cinematic Universe, directed by Taika Waititi, Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Christian Bale, um, and Tessa Thompson, among other people who I'll get to later. Um, I think overall, when I think about these MCU movies, people want everything to kind of connect and feel like the things that came before it, which sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, you really have to be you don't really have to be, but sometimes you can be an etch a sketch when it comes to these MCU movies because you have to take them for what they are as they present them to you when you see them at that time, if that makes any sense. Um, I liked this movie. I did. Usually when I rate movies, I go on a scale from 0 to 10, and I start to take points away or add points to what I did and didn't like about this movie. So I guess I'll go there with it. Um, when it boils down to it, this movie to me is a date movie. I guess it is a love and loss movie, and Love and Thunder is kind of the point of the title. Um, the love he had for Jane Foster, the loss that Gore had for his daughter. It's a lot of people who watch Marvel movies. They want comic book accurate stories, and Taika Waititi, he brought some sense of two good run comic book series, as far as I'm concerned, to this movie, and he did a pretty decent job of it. I would say a pretty decent job of it. Going over some points. The Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, people complain that the Guardians of the Galaxy were only in it for this amount of time, but it's not even really a Guardians movie at all. I mean, to be perfectly honest, they didn't really have to be in this, but the fact that Taika included characters that he probably hadn't even written for, which James Gunn always writes Guardians of the Galaxy storylines, is a good thing. The 10 minutes that they were in, I enjoyed. They did they wisecracking. I guess they were there to show Thor what a family was, and not in a traditional sense, in a non-traditional sense. I like the cameos. I like the Melissa McCarthy as Hela cameo. That was a good cameo for me. I love the screaming goats. They were hilarious. I love Marcy Darcy, the character who's James Foster's assistant. I liked her a lot. I liked her in WandaVision a little. That's There's a lot of stuff to like about this, man. They have another character in here who is the character is Hemdog's son, and he names himself Axel. I guess after the lead singer in Guns N' Roses. But when I think about Axel, I think about Axel Foley and Beverly Hills Cop. So I was gonna nitpick about that, but the fact that Axel Foley is in Beverly Hills Cop, and that's his character name. Uh, I'll let that pass. You know, he was the lone, you know, the lone black kid in the village of different types of kids, but you know, he wanted to name himself Axel. That's here, not here, though there. Um, I also like the God scene where they show every different God. I've seen they show glimpses of the God boss from the Black Panther series. They shown the rock god. They show Greek gods in all their form, and I like Russell Crowe as Zeus. Um, it was a very liberated take on Zeus because um, every other variation of Zeus on film is it had to be he had to be super strict and super uptight and this and that, and this guy was he was a not a drunken party frat boy, but he was definitely eating up that screenery while he was on there. um I liked it when they got to the shadow realm and everything started to turn black and white because it was void of color. That reminded me of one of my favorite movies, which is Sin City. And the only time you get to see color is in their weapons and in Thor's eyes when he started his lightning bolts, which is I like that part also. I like the scene with Eternity. Now, in the comics, Eternity is a huge deal. I mean, this entity is more revered than the Eternals and the Celestials and stuff like that. This is Marvel cosmic to the ultimate level, and the scene with Eternity is brilliant. It is nice. It's very nice to see that visual. Some of the things I didn't kind of like is the town fight scenes and the scenes where the kids fought. It seemed like it was too dark, like they didn't want to show everything. That's really kind of it for that scene, though. For those scenes, it was like I understand that it's at night and it's a city, but you couldn't get no light from nowhere, no street lights or anything. Everything was just it just seemed dark to me. What is that? I think it's a theme. It was a running theme throughout the movie to never meet your heroes, but in retrospect, I mean, I think you can meet. I don't know. You know what? It's a question maybe to pose to you guys out there. Should you be able to meet your heroes? I don't know. I don't know the question. Or I guess as people who are religious versus people who are atheists, would you ever want to meet the person you pray to or you worship? I suppose it's that, but I don't know. Would I ever want to meet? Would I ever want to meet Allah? I don't know. I don't. You know what? To be honest with you, I wouldn't. I would never. But I think I'm doing fine just the way I am, praising Islam and everything right now. The post-credit scenes. Let's see. The first post-credit scene, we found out that Zeus was not actually dead, which probably we should all know is a good thing. And he has a son named Hercules, which in Greek mythology and most of mythology involving Zeus, his son is Hercules. And he he's gonna send Hercules after Thor, which should be interesting. I guess Thor would have another buddy to fight with at first, and they may become frat boys or something like that. I don't know, but in the comics, Zeus is a not even I don't know if he's an anti-hero because I don't read his comics a whole lot, but he's definitely not a main villain type of a dude. So see how that turns out later on. Also, we see Jane Foster go to Valhalla, and it is introduced by Idris Elba's character Hemdale, and I really liked it. I love to see Idris back as Hemdale. I really like to go further with that character, other than the 2 movies he was in and the parts in Infinity War he was in. He really needs his arc too, because I feel he's important. He's an important character that they really maybe need to flesh out. Taika could flesh out a good story arc for him in the next film, I think. But I like that too. So it was a lot of good cameos, a lot of good things on there. What is that? Oh, it's another little nitpick. At the beginning of the movie, Gore is with his daughter, and they're in the desert, and they're praying to their gods, and they don't get any help. And as he holds her in his arms, I could have swore she said, "I'm dying," or I'm dying," or something like that. What? Only if you were like doing like a stage play or like something like that, or I don't know, like an opera or something, would a character actually say, "I'm dying"? It's so weird. It's like I don't know if it was like a Shakespearean play where a character would say, "I'm dying," because towards the end of the movie, Gore actually says it too. Like, we had already established that the sword, the necro sword, corrupts people, and he was already dying. So we already established that, and he actually says, "I'm dying." He said it. Like, what kind of character says that? But it's a small thing. I found it hilarious. I'm not hilarious. I just find it funny that a character would say that I'm dying. But so overall, I like this movie. It gave me different perspectives. Like, if you ever had a family member who was going through a disease which pretty much ravaged their body, would you give that person the respect or the empathy to let them live out the rest of their life as they so choose to, or would you hinder them and try to protect them for the rest of the time that they had? It's a big question. I think a lot of people who've seen the movie may not have a loved one who went through that, and then again, I hope that a lot of people who see the movie from the time that it opened, if they have been in that situation, will be able to see themselves in that situation, whether they went out on an adventure with this person or if they sat with them in the hospital until their last breath. I think that is 2 different sides to that. I think that's up to that person to choose. If the person wants to go out like a hero, which in all aspects, Jane Foster, she went out on her own terms like she wanted to, or she could be in a hospital bed, and that's a big question. I think this movie posed a lot of bigger questions other than just like comic book stuff. That's why I liked it too. I don't know people. I don't know why people like to think comic book um, stories or comic book movies can't have bigger scale questions, because this was a definitely bigger scale question. It's as far as people's religions and how they react with their religions, and as far as just having somebody who they loved and lost. You know, um, Gore's daughter, who died in the beginning and came back as, I guess you can call it like a variation or a wish of eternity. She has powers, and she's actually played by Chris Hemsworth's real daughter. Well, in the movie, she doesn't resemble him. She resembles him a little bit, but I think she resembles her mother a lot more than she does him. Maybe when she gets older or something, she'll look like him. But that was cool to see. I mean, Thor in the movie is going to be a father figure, and like another reviewer was saying, it's rare for characters in comics to, have basically have children like everybody else, on, I guess, Earth, or everybody else in the known universe. So it's rare for them to do that. My review score is still an 8.5, man. I like this movie. I mean, some people probably won't like it, which I totally understand. It's up to everybody's interpretation. So any comments, disagreements, any advice, you can leave it in my comments section. You can leave your rate or your review in my comment section too. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I thank you guys for your time today. And you have a good one.